I don't see anybody on. Sandy, just a quick mic check that you can hear us okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, and we can hear you, so good to go. I'll leave it off of mute now.
Sorry to always ask you to do
No.
this, but just does not want to remember.
That's all right.
Needs that stuff to advertise on the radio. Pellegrin or something. Can't remember what it is.
That is, it's, should remember.
It should, but it just doesn't. And
Just
it's not
strange.
only this address, it's other addresses as
Yeah, it's
well.
like something with your Wi-Fi driver or something.
I just don't want to fix it because I'm getting a new computer.
Well, there you go.
So, thanks to COVID, I'm getting.
Does your computer get a virus?
Well, I don't know. That could be it. I was surprised they'd give me one, whereas I'm, you know, probably won't wear it out, but I'll give it back.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Okay. We can read order. We'll begin with the pledges. Pledge, singular. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So, do we have any visitors?
None.
Okay, and no speaking in public comment?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. And hello to Sandy and nobody else online or?
Nobody else online. We are streaming on YouTube, so there may be
Okay.
people watching, but
Well, if
nobody.
anybody's watching, welcome.
Yep.
And we will start with now the consent agenda. We have the minutes and the financial reports attached to your packets. Anybody have anything they'd like to bring up, discuss, or change in the minutes?
I think that one reason I noticed this was because I wasn't here last time, but on the attendees, it looked like there was only 2 people. Sorry.
This thing is not scrolling.
Or whoever, you didn't do. Anyway.
I did the minutes.
Yeah, on the board, it says just Carrie and myself.
Things not scrolling.
So,
Oh,
Oh, in the minutes.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll correct it.
And like I said, the only reason I.
just right
I was
here.
like,
Oh,
no.
So but
Nobody
everybody.
came.
Everybody
Everybody
was here. I'll fix it.
yeah.
thank you.
So Quinn and
So don't sign those.
Sandy. Yeah.
Good catch. It's good to
Yeah.
catch these things.
That's twice today I've been impressed that board members were reading. Yeah, that's good.
My spouse,
I got that over here.
That's perfect.
my spouse found 2 lost things of mine today.
There you
I
go.
mean, one of them a nice thing that I've really been looking for. It's like, yes. So it's nice when you find things that you like that, and I'm glad you corrected that. Anything else? Okay, seeing none. If anyone would like to make a motion for the consent agenda, that'd be great.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda. Carrie?
Thank you, Carrie. Do I have a second?
A second, Polly?
All in second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we will vote. Anybody opposed? Anybody? Abstaining. And that passes. I was on a meeting this morning with 30 people, and they wanted to vote by saying yes or nay in the chat session. Can you imagine how bad that would have been? So I told them the way we do it, and they said, hey, yeah, let's do it.
That works good.
Okay, next up is a possibly short agenda, by the way.
Got my fingers crossed.
Very
Today's.
great. But we have a sad thing, a resignation.
Yeah, so Dave Snodgrass earlier this month presented me with his letter of resignation. He's just asked me to pass on that it's been a great experience coaching. I think multiple trips to state with the girls, including a third place trophy. And just really beyond going to state and getting trophies, just a great man working with kids. The one exciting piece about this for me is that now that he is like fully retired from everything, principal, teaching, coaching, is that we will be able to nominate him for the Idaho High School Activities Association Hall of Fame, which
For sure.
will be well-deserved and a quick entry, I am certain.
Yeah.
So we'll start to put that together for him. But just thank you to Dave for his service, and just even as I come up through the administrative ranks, his advice and wisdom and experience.
He's one of the most down-to-earth people I know. Practical, get it done person. We need to entertain a motion to approve his resignation.
I'll move to approve Dave Snodgrass's resignation.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second, Carrie.
Carrie seconds. Any discussion here? None will vote. Anybody opposed? Maybe abstain. With regret, but with thanks, we approve. And we're back to our review,
Yep.
monthly review of the school opening operations plan amendments and changes. So Mr. T.
Yep. So I'll go through a few proposals that I have. It was not in your packet, but I've got it up here on the board for everybody to see with changes. Mostly here is my thought as we move forward, just being realistic with our district and trying to be smart with what we're doing. Cases have dropped precipitously, very, very rapidly, and have managed to stay down in our region and continue to do so. Even more so in our county, cases are in Lewis County and in Idaho County, cases remain low. The cases that are happening in this region, which are all kind of lower, are primarily Nez Perce and Latah County, with a few occasional exceptions, but primarily, I mean, a lot of days with 0 in Nez Perce or in Lewis and Idaho County. I watched that, and balancing the goals from when we first created this document of, keeping kids safe, keeping staff safe, and our community safe, and keeping kids in school, kind of all of those things. I feel like the science right now is saying that kids are safe with this virus. I realize, a vaccine for children is sometime still coming, maybe not even by the start of school next year. But all staff members that have wanted to get vaccinated have been vaccinated, and it's fully vaccinated at this point for all of those staff members. And the other changing thing is that as of the 1st of April, anybody in the state of Idaho who's over the age of 16 at this point, if it's the Pfizer vaccine, has had an opportunity to schedule an appointment. Now, we're probably a little bit early when we're talking about our whole entire community being at fully vaccinated. But my thought is that we're close enough. We're actually still operating in yellow. My recommendation is going to be if cases remain the same for this week, that on Friday would be our last day of kind of monitoring cases. And then we would move from yellow back to green. And then not only would we do that, but we'd also adjust green, and specifically around the mask requirements. I know sometimes that's like the sticky point. But I'll show you what I kind of have proposed here. Oh man, this thing is like scrolling awful. Let me go to the mask piece. Jeez.
Acting like my computer.
Yeah, it is. It's just screening. UPE, this is the section.
Or better with your arrow keys.
I don't, it's not even scrolling with this very well. So let me,
Does it need a battery?
I don't think it's that. I actually think it's this computer is struggling right now. But okay, so see if I can get there eventually. So shifting from a requirement of masks to a recommended of masks or face shields when indoors. So masks would still be allowed, obviously, and for people who are not comfortable, we would, still not make sure that kids aren't being picked on for wearing a mask or faculty, stuff like that. But we would remove the mask. We would also, this is the expectation that the district with appropriate room use set up for proper social distancing, delete that part. Allow and support individual teachers to require masks. So we would lift that piece now that staff have been fully vaccinated. Work with local medical providers to develop remote clinics. That really was early work that isn't necessary anymore. We would also remove the idea that with the cohort groups. And so that specifically would be like at recess, we would no longer like have a K2 section and a 3-5 section. And allow for the mixing. We'd still provide masks. We would still do the fans and the circulation. We would still do the filters. We would still do the hand sanitizing protocols. And masks would be, like I said, optional and certainly allowable if people want to wear them and feel comfortable wearing them. So that would be the big shift. The other shift where we had mask requirement is on the buses. And we would lift that mask requirement too, even if windows were closed. There is, it does give the potential for an outbreak. I think some other states like Michigan are, seeing outbreaks and primarily being driven by kids. I think we have to be, careful as we communicate to parents that certainly if the situation changes, we could go right back into yellow, or we might have to go right back into yellow. At some point as this year is finalizing, but the general idea would be that masks are moving from recommended or from required in certain situations to recommended in kind of all situations, really. There would be no required mask wearing times by students and staff members. We would still try to encourage physical distancing as much as possible in the classroom, keep that 6 feet of distance, et cetera.
I have a question on that. So why do we keep 6 feet if the CDC now says 3 feet is good enough for kids?
So the CDC guidance with the 6 feet versus 3 feet says 3 feet is good enough if they're all wearing masks all of the time.
Okay.
And so that's kind of my thought is we're still small. We can still, and is it that every single situation, every kid is 6 feet apart? No, but we've tried to kind of set up rooms so at least it's maximized a little bit. But yeah, so that is
Okay.
the CDC recommendations say wearing masks at all times when indoors. Yeah. And then you can do the 3 feet of distancing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's for more crowded schools, that they would probably opt for that, and so they don't have to split the classes and run a, what do you call it, blended hybrid program.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it is different. You see, if some schools are coming back, they have full-time mask requirements in many other states. As far as the, like within our region, I think we are one of the few schools that still have some form of a mask requirement. There's a few that I can think of. I think Moscow and Lewiston still have some form of a mask requirement. Moscow likely will keep it for the entire year. Lewiston had a meeting recently, and I'm not sure where they're at. Genesee has indicated that they'll probably keep their mask requirement for the remainder of the year. That'll, yet to be seen. Highland also, and I've had plenty of conversations with her, and I think they're in a very similar place to us in that kind of monitoring after spring break. Originally, I was kind of thinking we might be able to even lift it this week, but after visiting with the health district, they said, particularly with some of the universities that went to spring break, they didn't see a big surge the first week. It was the second week after spring break. So that this would give us 2 full weeks after spring break travel to kind of assess any additional cases. But, one of the things from the very beginning too, is that with all the protocols that we have in place, if you have a high level of community spread, those protocols become less and less safe or effective because there's just so many cases out there. But as the number of cases drops and you get less and less, chance of spread, all of a sudden those protocols become more and more safe, and you can drop some of them too, I think. And that would be my recommendation at this point. I certainly think I'd love to hear what you guys think and how you feel as a board. And I think the timing works good for me just to have this conversation with you, as opposed to like making a decision and then looking for your blessing. So
I think it's good to wait the 2 weeks after spring break. I'm just like super happy we're at this point. Finally,
yeah.
we're able to look at going back to green.
It is a shift. A couple of things that might have impact is prom, which up till this point, there was some discussion about what prom might look like. If we would have kind of, a mask requirement, and I had even bounced an idea off with Jackie about requiring like testing without making that a formal plan, but like, you could test kids before the prom and then see if there were any positives. I knew that would, some people kind of bristle at forcing someone to take a test. I do think if we were to lift the mask mandate, then prom would, assuming, again, we don't have a large outbreak of cases or an outbreak of cases even, prom could be relatively normal. And I think, probably the last thing is graduation. And we just have to look at really like the gathering size at this point is probably the last piece there. So hopefully, I mean, the other piece that I would encourage, and my full understanding of the science, is the vaccination is making a difference and will continue to make a difference as we look at this long term, and just encouraging people to do that research and get the vaccine if they can, because I think it's a game changer.
My daughter and son-in-law in Germany, they're in their 40s. They think maybe by next year they're with the vaccination.
And
By
we have
next
access to
year.
different-
No, they can't get it now. And they're hoping by next year.
Oh my goodness.
And I thought Germans were efficient.
No, I think it just sends the right message. I mean, we've said we're following science the whole way, so I mean, it just makes sense. I mean, it validates what we've been doing all along, especially if we start backing again, because
And adjusting with the numbers.
yes, yeah.
Now, some have done it
doesn't
quicker
make
than
sense.
us. I still think we've been thoughtful about it and taken our time, and we've met the requirements that we laid out at the very beginning of the year. It'll be a little different. I sense, it's going to be different for some people who have been wearing masks, and all of a sudden there's that shift. And it's like, when do you need to wear it? When do you not? For me, I'm like, I had it and I was vaccinated, and I'm still, like I'll still wear it in the store. I said like I was going to wear this mask until we kind of lifted that requirement as a school. So that's part of it. The other part is, like my wife got the vaccine, and she's not quite fully vaccinated at this point. But I think it's time to adjust and move back to life. And it also helps address those concerns that were early on, like this is going to be forever. It's the new normal, those kind of things. I think there is a way to move forward with this.
Thank you. More comments or questions anybody have? We entertain a motion to approve the changes as suggested.
Full reopening operations plan amendments and changes.
And we would move to green as well. Yeah.
And move to green. Yay.
I will second that.
Thank you. Polly moved to update it. And Quinn seconded. Any discussion of the motion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Anybody opposed to the motion? Anybody abstain from the motion? Then it passes. Thanks. Thanks for your work on that, Mr. Higgs. That's good. I'm sure.
There are people out there that are celebrating.
I know that you mean about habit, so
It's an adjustment.
Laura has it like, our daughter Laura has it so much that like, it's like automatic with her, and I have to tell her, okay, Laura, we're in the car going home. You don't have to
Yeah,
wear
it's
your mask
okay.
all the
Yeah,
way
it's
home.
okay.
You know? But it does get part of your behavior after a while.
Yeah.
Okay, my computer like froze up.
I think the next thing is the policy,
Policy,
board
yeah.
policy update. Yeah.
So I guess this is second reading, so we could start out, Mr. Teigs, if you had any adjustments to what you said last time, and then see if anybody has any questions or any changes they want to make. I don't think we need to go through the whole thing again.
Okay, yep. Just with all of them, 2700P, I recommended not to adopt. 3503C, which was a specific COVID policy regarding testing, I recommended not to adopt. And then 5400C, which was also a coronavirus related policy, I recommended not to adopt. And all the rest I recommended to adopt. If there were any other specific concerns about that, then I can answer any about these policies.
Thanks. Does anyone have any specific policies they'd like to talk about? If you'd like to go, if anybody on the board wants to go over more of these, or if we need a refresher, we can do that. But, they were pretty straightforward, I think, and so, but that doesn't mean we can't go over them if you need to, so if you want. Just let your wishes be known.
It was 5400C was the third one. change. I don't-
Yeah, and I have it here, Marcy, I'll give it to you, but the 5400C not to adopt.
Okay, anybody? Last chance on that? Really, it's never the last chance with Robert's Rules of Order. If not, if no one has a question, we could entertain a motion to pass them with exception of the three noted ones that we would not include, which you could provide the numbers to the motion.
So to adopt 3060, 3085, 4120, 4605, 4605P, 7218, 7450P, 7455, and 8605 as amended, as recommended.
This is Quinn, so moved.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Quinn to do that.
Way to get those numbers right. We have a second.
Polly, a second.
Okay, Polly seconds. Any discussion on the motion to approve these? Hearing none, anybody opposed to the motion? Anybody abstain from the motion? Passes, thank you. And we're done with that. Next up, superintendent contract.
I recommend adoption. The superintendent evaluation is done in executive session, perfectly legitimate. Any contracts that the board has, it would have to be done in open session. I sent a letter. It's been a month ago now. So I guess it would be at the board's discretion to offer a contract or whatever. Whatever.
I gotta get that.
Let me sit there and sweat.
Yeah.
You have the date of that?
It was right after the last board meeting, or wasn't it?
When we did your.
Oh, yeah. So it was actually right before the last board meeting. So it was like a day or two before the last board meeting. So it would have been March. I don't know. Let me look at the calendar. Early March. Sheesh. This computer's- oh. That's right, 5th of March. While you're looking at that, in the interest of me breaking my world record of getting out of here, if you want, I can talk a little bit about the parking lot. It's pretty quick.
Okay, that'd be fine.
Okay, so just the parking lot bid update. The work with JUB is done. We did some good work meeting with the city, looking at it, planning ahead. I have contacted 4 potential. By law, we're required to get, we don't have to get 3 bids, but we have to contact 3 vendors that could provide it. One of them kind of indicated that the timeline wouldn't really work with the work that they have going on this summer, but the other 3 all indicated that they'd be very, excited to participate in it. So we'll be sending the official bid out to them tomorrow. And all 3 had an expectation that it'd be able to be accomplished between the middle of June and the middle of August. But our parking lot will be kind of closed up during some of the main summer swimming session. So that's all I had as far as a parking lot bid update. I don't know if anybody had any specific questions about that, but the expectation is maybe the middle of June until the middle of August is what it has written in there. So sometime in that frame.
When they'll do the work.
Yeah. One contractor, Knife River, is doing some work right here in town or something during that same time frame, and then we'll also send it out to Poe and Herco. And we also contacted, I also contacted the Valley Paving, I think it is, out of Cottonwood. Yeah, Subert/Valley Paving, that's right. And they kind of indicated that they're pretty swamped during that time with some highway projects. But Knife River,
Probably have
Poe.
numbers next meeting, probably.
Yeah, we'll have their quotes, and actually probably I'll just, to get it kind of going, the way the law reads is it's they're all sealed, but you open them up and it's the lowest bid. I'll check to make sure that the board doesn't have to open it up, but I think because it's the lowest bid, I could,
You can
Open
it
them.
and then the board just-
yeah. But at least then I'll kind of know that lowest number. Really, the only action at that point that the board could take is if there was a vendor that was lower and you didn't want to go with them for some reason, you would just kind of void the whole bid, and you could do that. And we'd start back over again.
Yeah,
But
we either have to take the lowest.
or void it, yeah, or just start over. So. But I'll be able to open them up, see the lowest price. JUB did a good job kind of laying everything out.
Okay, any other questions on that? We don't need a motion. Right?
No motion.
So, all right, I got the salary letter up. So, sorry, I'm so slow, but like I say, this computer is just like on its last legs. So let's go back to that superintendent contract. And we have Mr. Teague's salary proposal. I'm sure we're 100% wanting to offer you a contract. At least that would be my opinion. And I'll leave it, let's open it to we've got to discuss the salary level and open.
It has to be discussed in
Okay,
public session. It's a contract that the school, I mean, it's just, yeah,
okay.
Which
I'm
year is,
happy, I'm fine with that.
yeah, it is, yeah.
which year is this now, Sean?
So this is the end of my third year. Is that third, end of my second year? Yeah. Yep, that's right.
And you had a 2-year contract? This is the end of a 2-year contract?
Yes.
End of a
because
2-year
you didn't
contract.
Extend it.
Correct. And then, you know, sometimes the board's always at a discretion to like offer like a 2 or 3 year, up to a 3-year contract is the maximum. That could be. It's only the end of this. I think COVID counts as 2 years.
I'm pretty sure because
I think you're right.
You didn't extend the contract.
Correct.
last time. You just complete the 2 years.
How long have you been
I thought it
principal?
was 3.
I think it's 3, but I'm not sure. I don't know how long I've been doing this.
I have to go back. Did you just have a 1-year contract then? Or was it a 3-year contract?
No, I don't think I had a 3-year contract. I think I had a 1 year and then it rolled once. And then it didn't roll last year.
Yeah, it was kind of confusing because when we started, it was like this kind of co-superintendent thing, you know?
Right, yeah, and
Yeah.
Dennis was getting an
Yeah.
administrator. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
That's true.
Anybody want to speak to this?
So I'm curious, you know, in your letter, you say that you didn't receive a raise last year because of the COVID situation.
Yeah.
If you were under a 2-year contract, which should you have received a raise?
No, not necessarily. No, so oftentimes, you might, in other districts, like they might adjust it as a cost of living. But you're right. No, there wouldn't be any guarantee of that. Like, so like say the teacher's got a 3%, a district might just kind of adjust that upwards, but no, there wouldn't be any other raise.
So I mean, if you're a 3-year contract or this or that, I mean, that is technically what you get paid unless
Yep.
there's no
Unless-
Nope, that's right.
cost of living
Nope,
increase.
yep, that's right.
So that doesn't mean you do or anything.
Correct. Correct.
I don't know if it's proper to ask per se, why do you want just a 1-year contract versus a 2 or 3-year contract?
You know, I've gone back and forth with that a little bit. I think if that's, you know, something that I would be open to that. Ultimately, the way I feel about a superintendent contract is I like to keep working for you as long as you want me to keep working for you guys. I see an awful lot of like golden parachute type stuff with superintendents where they have a 3-year contract, they do something to upset the board, or you know, the board decides to get rid of them, and then all of a sudden the board's on a hook for, you know, if they really want to get someone gone, they're on the hook for those 3 years. But I'm open to that. I'm okay. I'm comfortable with 1-year contracts. I would be comfortable with something longer as well, if that was something the board thought added value to the contract.
Any idea or anybody, board members, what do other superintendents run on a year-to-year contract, or do they run on 2 or 3 years?
I think that it's pretty varied. It's not like teachers with a set salary schedule and such. So it's quite varied, I think.
I think it's more common to see it be a multi-year contract.
Yeah.
Probably going to be even more so now with the current superintendent searches that, you know, there's some leverage there, I guess, for superintendents to get longer term contracts. I think the year-to-year contract is not the norm, is what I would say.
Budget question, you know, an extra 10,000, is that, does that screw a budget up? Or?
But
We're currently working on our budget.
Yeah.
But so we can account for that in the new budget.
yeah, we would account for it. Does it like throw a bombshell into the budget? I don't think So that's my opinion. I'm talking about my own salary. So,
Giving you a raise doesn't mean
Yes.
school wants us have to go.
No.
I mean, so 82,000 was what we were paying you
Mhm.
as a new superintendent. I would say you've definitely proven to us that you've got what it takes to be a really great superintendent.
Well, I'm gonna weigh in a little bit, since everybody else did. Well, I'll tell you one thing, there's a lot of superintendent openings right now around the state, and Mr. Teagues could qualify for many of them. I've, for years, we did this kind of the retired superintendent gig, because that's pretty much they were interested in coming here. They were really capable superintendents,
Mhm.
and we had some really good superintendents, but the gig was about a 3 to 4 year, and then you're going again, and then you're going again. Mr. Teagues does represent, I think, a longevity possibility, but it isn't that we have to outbid every school in the state, but we have to at least stay current with what other superintendents are being paid around the state. And I think this year we haven't really done the budget yet or anything, but with COVID money available, I think that probably is a good year to be able to budget this in and get it started. I'm not, I don't know. I guess that, you're kind of concerned that, so this is our only employee. He's our employee of the board. The rest are employees of the school. And so you're concerned. I'm concerned about the public, how they would, and the staff and such, and how they would reflect that large of an increase. But at the same time, I think it's important that, pitch pennies, trying to get up to that level. Like if you put together a 4-year plan of 5% a year, you're trying to accomplish the same goal, but I think we'd be capable of doing this now. And if the board felt like it was something in the long-term interest of the school, we could, I think, not defend it, but encourage people to understand it in a way that it wasn't like threatening, or it wasn't like, oh, we're doing this just because we are in the superintendent's pocket or something like that. That we've really considered it and believe it's best for our school district.
Well, I think it's important just my own personal pay philosophy is, I think it's important to be in line with with the communities around us and other schools that are same size. So I'm not going to fact check you. I'm going to go ahead and
I
your research. But so I don't think that is a bad move to make either. That 12% might look big, but if it gets us in line with other districts and superintendents in the area, I think that is important. And I'll just echo what Carrie said with the I think Sean has a tenfold, not only this year, but in previous years too. So.
Thank you. I do think it's in line with our region. I don't think it's over the top. It probably puts me about at the middle, right, as far as superintendent pay, maybe even not quite there, but certainly Nez Perce is a smaller community, and those are concerns that you guys, have to have. We have to operate this small school, and there's costs to that. So.
Like Ken said, I think we can defend it, and if there's anything that this community is a supporter of the school and our educators and the quality of people we have working here. So I don't think it would be a huge argument either.
I'm not afraid that by not offering it that we're going to lose you, but the fact is we could lose you, and replacing you isn't necessarily guaranteed.
There's costs associated with that all the time.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't want to make it seem like it's not, when I presented it to the board, it's not like approve it or I'm gone or anything like that. It was just time to maybe advocate for myself and put something out there and see what the board wants to do and make a decision. And
Question for you, Sean. You
Mhm.
say in there that, large increase here now, but in the future, you won't ask any more than what certified staff. My question is there a pay scale for certified staff that they are getting a 2% increase each year or?
that's negotiated every single year through,
So it's nothing, I didn't know if that was sometimes the state says, well, we're gonna give a 2% increase.
they do.
Something that
Yep.
they followed or not.
We try to kind of match with what the state's doing, but that it varies from
There's
year to
not an
year.
actual set that every
Right.
year they're gonna get a 2%.
It would have to be agreed on between the board when you negotiate and the teachers. And it gets complicated, sometimes like those numbers are gonna start coming out and they're gonna say, well, school's got a 6% increase in funding this year. And then you have to kind of explain to the teachers that a 6% increase in funding doesn't mean they increase teacher salary 6%.
But in
But we
our
do,
most recent negotiation with them, we didn't set an actual.
we
set
do.
pay scale that every year they're gonna. get
Oh, no.
2% raise.
Not long term, not long term. That would be year to year negotiated. Yeah. Yeah. And what I would think in the future, moving forward with my contract as I sign it every year, is that any increase would just be tied to certified staff increase that was determined. And then be done with this awkward board meeting.
So that's my opinion of this, where I'm at is I'd rather do a 2 or 3 year contract rather than just a 1 year. Because it gives us a better idea that, hey, we're gonna have the same superintendent for a couple years to work with, rather than every year going, well, now we're back in the same.
Mhm.
Conversation.
And to me, it shows support to you, Sean, that, hey, no, we want you
Sure.
to be here, we want you to.
Absolutely.
lead.
I would be a 2-year contract.
And I have one more comment, and that is tying your salary to it. I mean, we won't do that by whatever contract we do here, tying it to a percentage. Because I have a little problem with that, because watch that happen in the outfit I work for.
Mhm.
And administrative salaries over the time I've worked there have gone up like something like 800%.
Yeah.
Why our salary or the
Sure.
line workers' salaries have gone up,
Yeah.
like 75%, over that time or something. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, because of that, if you put a percentage in, the highest workers they
That's
just blow
very
it
true.
up. So I wouldn't, and this doesn't do that, but I just want to bring that up, that we wouldn't be tied to a percentage increase,
Mhm.
as it says here in the letter. The contract would be, the contract and amount is negotiable.
And my kind of intention was, this isn't gonna be a significant raise, and then next year I'm like, God, just kidding. This needs to be more significant. My intention is I think this puts me in line with my peers regionally in the state of Idaho, and specifically in this region. And then after that, I'm good to go.
Is it very much by region?
There is some variability
Like
by region.
Ada County down there, whatever region. it is.
That's probably slightly higher.
Yeah.
But then like your
Moscow.
southeast, and especially smaller schools in the southeast, it's probably lower.
Yeah.
Moscow and Genesee and Lewiston generates, and that Washington border generates some more pressure here, and salaries are probably higher than some places closer to like Utah, or that aren't right along a border. Then you see if you're right along Wyoming, there's more salary pressure. Boise has more salary pressure, and then Washington border has salary pressure.
So going forward here, I mean, basically the board can accept this proposal. When is this gonna be exactly? When's your?
I mean, I sign a contract that starts in July.
So, I'm just saying, there's some other, we can accept the proposal today and it takes effect in July. Or we can, if you want to do anything different, we could either form a little subgroup and talk about it, or we can, you know, like a couple board members could work with Mr. Teagues on it. And if you want to do something different, if you want, would you know, looking at a 1-year contract or a multiple year contract, we can do that tonight, or we can do that, you know, we have some flexibility here. But if you're happy with going with this, I'm fine with that too. We can go with that.
I don't think subcommittee and things like that are going to. That's my feelings about it. We've had it to look at for a moment now. He's agreeable to a 2-year contract.
It's a 14.
So,
That-
sounds good.
that-
Well, we need a motion.
So I move to accept Sean's proposal with the change to a 2-year contract
I need numbers to put in the minutes.
for 92,000 a year salary.
And I'll
I will
second it.
give you a copy of the proposal.
I
That's
just
public
need to-
record too, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll get doomed.
Yep.
We don't want you getting dinged.
Slow.
So
I can help you.
Carrie seconded that, correct? Okay, discussion on the motion. Okay, hearing none. Then we'll vote. Is there anybody opposed to the motion? Anybody abstaining from the motion? That passes. Thank you, board. That wasn't so uncomfortable.
Wow.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Do I word it that it, approve a 2-year contract for 92,000 per year? Do I say per year, or do I just leave it at 92,000? Are they thinking it's 92,000 for the 2 years?
I think that,
That's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I probably worded it as 92,000 per year.
Per year.
Okay.
I think
Is that what you
that,
meant?
no.
Wait, I thought we were talking about it.
When you agreed to it 2 years, we get that same price. Sucker.
Isn't it buy one?
Yeah. That's
You
right.
remember when I said Robert's rules of order, everything's still on the table. Move to reconsider.
Shoot.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
We're ready for K-12.
And you voted,
Report.
right?
Yeah.
They voted.
Is unanimous.
Okay, principal report. I must have accidentally closed
This
it.
is awesome. We're ready.
You're ready, okay.
Oh, it's
Oh, good
way
scroll down
here.
there.
Lots of pictures, won't take as much time. Conferences went well. A junior class made over 200 tacos, one of the best feeds they've ever had.
Amazing.
Again, it's something we're learning about COVID. This might be the way to go. Virtual Dream It, Do It. Natalie helped the junior class with that, and it was just a lot of career information for them at this time in their lives. Staff events, Andrea McMillan led the continuous improvement plan on Friday. She did a very good job.
Mhm.
A lot of good conversations. Staff chose different areas they were going to be in. She has a lot of data to peruse and to put together for our community one on April 23rd. We also have our last, on the 23rd of that, in the afternoon, we'll have our trauma-informed teaching book studies completed at that time. So Christy Bertha has been working with us on that, and it's been very beneficial. We're going to be looking at some of the things we learned this year to apply next year. So part of that process is building that into our individual learning plans. And then formal evaluations. We will have some test data that has to be completed, and student surveys have to be important as well. But feeling very good about that. I was really worried about last year did not turn out so well with everyone being leaving from COVID. Sports, junior high track is 6th through 8th is after school, and high school track, we have 6 girls and 3 boys. Mr. Teagues can fill us in a little bit. We've been having some track meets, and we have some invitations coming up. High school softball, there are 12 players. Kelby is battling the wonderful spring weather on the prairie, so a snowstorm, do I rate the field or not? And so it's a kind of an hour by hour play on that. Bad news on our high school baseball, we had to pull out. We had a lot of students put on the other side
No.
of our Lewis County, and we have a student who wasn't able to play this year anymore, so we just don't have enough players. So the boys are trying to get into track, I think.
Got a couple of them.
Sean's busy. So, and Club CTE, the host of blood drive was a very good success. Casey Wall led it this year. Typically, it's the older student that has done it before. She said there were just a lot more people, and I think a lot of it is they could get their reports on if they
Their
have
antibody.
antibodies or not. There were also these three, Jillian, Casey, and Madison also have qualified for the HOSA within the top 10 for the HOSA virtual conference. It started today for one student. A couple of them, the other 2 will be competing on Wednesday. It's been a little challenging this year because of the state leadership conferences have been online virtual. So FCCLA, it didn't work out. It's a pretty small group, but FFA has competed. It's lasting 3 to 4 days, depending on through the weekend. Talked to Austin Nelson today. He did earn his state degree in FFA, and he said there were just a lot of small groups and live stream conferences that he attended, and some breakout rooms. So he's pretty proud of himself for all the things that he's done with FFA this year. The elementary students will be starting their Miles for Smiles this week. They are we've been making videos to share with the elementary students since we haven't really gathered in one big area for any type of our assemblies. So they are going to explain to the students this week how the pledges work. There's no door-to-door. There's just families and calling friends and that the parents approve of, and they'll just be getting pledges for how many miles they run, and all the money will be sent to the Ronald McDonald houses. That came from Forrest Nelson, who gave us that idea early in the year, because he said they were building a lot more of these homes for people to stay. Our kindness count celebration was really successful. They have a reading day, and it's a Little Mermaid here. We had a reading day where, and they had a lot of kindness activities. There were 41 students who turned in their kindness counts checklist. I counted them up today, 581 acts of kindness from these students. That's an average of 14.2 per student. And a lot of the kids are still, working on posters, and I hear them do things in the playground. So I think it's really helped. Part of this was the Silverwood. They still did the Silverwood reading tickets, and there were 49 students that turned in that and earned their 10 hours of extra reading at home. Junior, senior high school, we had National Honor Society induction ceremony. There were 3 juniors last year who did not participate in a ceremony because we weren't allowed to have one. So they came, and then this year we had 1 senior and 3 sophomores that joined into the National Honor Society. It was a very nice ceremony. Mr. Tiggs was the guest speaker, and they made cookies in individually wrapped containers. It was really good. The mascot reveal on April 7th went very well. We had 1st through 12th grade, and we had Aiden, I think that I have the picture up here, but there were Aiden McLeod and Jillian Lux and Erica Zimmer who ran the committee. They were also on the committee to choose the mascot and to help refine what you see on the banners around you. And there was also a little surprise at the end. AJ Douglas created a bench that he made for the senior project. I don't have a picture of it here.
If we're done, when we're done with the meeting, we should swing by the
It
gym
is
because it's still in the gym. It's pretty
amazing.
impressive. It's really cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
He worked with Helco and he looks very professional. It's very heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Very heavy, but he's got a little plaque on the front of it too, that, you know, who had created it in the year he graduated. They had, it was just a fun day, mainly because the kids were just all surprised because they never got to see it before. And they kept a secret. They never shared it, so that was good. Our senior citizen coin drive is still on. I did talk to Sandy today about the jar going down to the store. I think we're going to be doing that. You had brought that up Ken, earlier. It's kind of a competition, so this always helps. I think the 8th grade is ahead with maybe $50, so it's really helped to bring the competition along. Prom is May 1st. We are planning on a normal kind of prom, depending how this week goes, as you guys already discussed. Rustic romance is the topic or the theme, and Mary's helping me this year, so it'll be beautiful. So that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
This week is the start of when we number weeks, because it gets busier and busier. It accelerates.
Testing starts tomorrow.
Testing starts tomorrow, yeah, and I have a little bit on that.
How we mark our
I just have one question on the blood drive. What did you say? Was this more, we had more people?
Yes, they were very busy. Yeah. And a lot of staff and students. And it might have been for the same reason. Did I have COVID? I don't know. But I think they even had to turn some people
Are
back.
people just curious?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah. Well, they have I don't know, they might make a different decision about, did I have it? Maybe I did. You know, there were a lot of questions because it affected everyone so differently.
Still think it'd be interesting. When we went to Fred Meyer and got our antibody test, I always thought it'd be interesting it was like $25 a piece just to test the kids. Cause I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what you found out. Did half your students have it? Did none of them have it? And who knows? I don't know.
And sometimes it takes a while to get those results.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Thanks. Looks like things are going well.
For my report, I just wanted ISATs do start tomorrow. The ISATs will be grades 3 through 11. 3 through 10 takes the math and English language arts. 11th graders this year, which was supposed to start last year, take a kind of a comprehensive science exam. And so it's not over a specific topic like chemistry or physics, but and that's also in the 5th and 8th grade is where they'll take the science exam. We'll see how it goes. It's been 2 years since the kids have taken it. Tomorrow is also the SAT for the juniors, the big college test that the state of Idaho pays for. So wishing them good luck as they move forward. That class has done a good job on previous standardized exams, so I have high expectations for their results. As Jackie mentioned, the continuous improvement plan is moving forward. Andrea has kind of been tasked with that since she's doing her internship. And I think she has in mind a couple of board members. I don't know if she's reached out to people yet, but so I'm kind of, hands off and giving her some advice, but letting her kind of run through that continuous improvement process. It was really neat to just, and some of it is when it's just the staff getting there, they can get into all sorts of like dream stuff, like, oh, we want this and we want this and we want this. And then you have to kind of pull them back and say, well, there's also real life and there's cost to all this. But it was good to see them have conversations. It was really fun to move around between the rooms. And again, just kind of another sign that we're moving forward from COVID and everything else. Legislative update, just a couple of things. There's just a lot going on. There was like one example is like this sneaky kind of move through an amendment process to get that August election date removed again, even though it had failed in committee and not progressed at all. And then all of a sudden on the floor of the House, once you start making these amendments, somebody just throws that one into kind of an unrelated bill, removing the August election dates. And so there are also, I'm hearing rumors now, and we're going to have kind of an emergency quick meeting with Region 2 superintendents tomorrow, but there are rumors that the K-12 budget as proposed by JFAC and approved by JFAC may be voted down in the House tomorrow. Because there are concerns perhaps, and again, I'm working a little bit on rumor here, but that there's certain curriculums or programs that some school districts are using that the legislature finds offensive. So we've had, like public television was kind of under attack, and I guess that budget finally got passed, but you guys have probably seen the college stuff that's going on and getting that passed. And now there's rumor that maybe not even K-12 education is safe from it as well. So we'll see what happens. It's supposed to come up for a vote, but it does give me concern. And I sent my representatives a note that just, I do think we need some stability, and we need to know what the budget is for next year. Right now, there are no budgeting documents out for Marcy. The State Department's like, we can't give you anything because we're just guessing. And if it goes down, they can't adjourn until they've passed the K-12 budget. They're constitutionally, they have to do that. But what happens when they vote one down is it's got to go back to JFAC, which is supposed to be a joint committee to kind of smooth that process. So like everybody's going to agree to this. Well, it'll go back to JFAC and they'll have to come up with another plan. So anyways, just want to make you aware of that. We'll continue to watch it and see what's happening. But other than that, make sure you check your Quinn sent out an update today as well.
This is about the K-12 budget. Judge, it says it's a bargaining chip. So glad.
Yeah. Now I don't even know if it's
Using it as
I don't even know if it's a bargaining chip at this point. What I'm hearing is that it might just go down in flames like some of these other ones, because they're my interpretation trying to kind of prove a point with it. But
They've been proven points.
they've been proven points all year. That's right.
I can just tack on to the end of yours. Are you
Yep.
done?
I'm done.
I'm gonna tack on a couple points. So Dan Johnson and Carl Crabtree really instrumental in defeating school vouchers this year, which you'll be back next year, but they did a really good job. So if you can give them an encouraging word, I'm sure they need it. It's been brutal. Quinn Perry, though, I tell you, she has really showed her moxie this year. I mean, her ability and she's really matured into her job as legislative liaison for the school board association. So, and then the other thing was, I just want to remind everybody the Spring Leadership Institute is May 12th. So the registration's open for that. And I'm going down for ISBA executive board meeting on Friday this week.
Going down.
Yeah, in person. Yeah.
Cool.
They wanted to have, they're, it's Idaho. So they want to have an in-person meeting, and they voted, and that's the majority voted for an in-person meeting. And today the director sent out, by the way, this is Boise. We're in a mandate. We got the biggest room we can get, but you're still got to wear a mask unless you're speaking for the entire day and a half of meetings. So anyway,
Is there a registration fee for this one?
the spring one,
This one leadership? Do I need to register maybe for that?
I think it's like,
Is
I looked at
is
it today. It was $300.
is it for the district or per person?
I thought it said.
Yeah, I think.
I have an email.
I think it's for the district. I didn't look, I do want to attend too, Marcy.
Okay, so I just need, if you guys will let me know, then I can.
I think they're gonna do it in person in Lapway. No, Lewiston School
Okay.
District. yeah.
On May 12th. So that's 1 to 4. So registration for attendance.
Okay, so Polly and Kim so far?
I think I'm probably gonna skip Marcy.
Okay. Quinn,
No, I'm gonna say I doubt it.
okay. Sandy?
No,
Okay, that's all. I just want to tag on those two things to the report.
Do you find the email?
I don't know. I'll find it.
Let's
Just came.
There were
I-
like three
I
that
know
came out, I
got it.
remember, yeah.
It came in like 3 different ones.
Yeah.
I just gotta find it.
And I want you guys to think of me on Saturday because they're reviewing the executive board is reviewing their strategic plan. And the person that probably would be best for that no longer works for ISBA. And I am not looking forward to that whole thing, but we'll do the best we can. I've been tutored in it and I can hopefully help some down there, but anyway. That's all we have. Entertain a motion.
Can I, sorry,
Yes,
I
sure.
was gonna, and I don't know if I can do this, but yeah, but I saw that, I think our next board meeting is the day of the learning fair.
Yeah,
And
so
I
we've
was hoping maybe
we've-
we could put it, maybe.
Yeah,
put the
we've-
Meeting forward,
moving the starting time forward.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, even
It is kind of nice to have the board meeting and then be able to just go over and kind of see the learning fair. And that's why we've done that before in the past, but
it just. like,
Certainly,
it
I
starts
don't-
at 6 and then.
because we just advertise it, I don't actually think it's an action item. So I don't think it's an action item
No, I'll just.
because it's a
post it.
regular board meeting. We'll just
I'll
post it.
That it's an earlier
If you
time.
guys want to just have a conversation, agree on a time that would make sense to you, that's fine with me.
I mean, like even 5, I think.
Well, I mean, if we can go a little bit earlier to give you a little bit more.
And it's okay if it starts a little bit. I mean, it's not like you guys have to be there honestly, like right when it starts, but yeah.
A late board
Yeah.
meeting where we don't get out of here
That's
till
that's
7.
kind of the
or
thing,
8.
you know, how much time you started is, what's the agenda?
Yeah,
This was a short meeting and we're still.
Right.
a little
we're at
over.
7:30 or 6:30.
Let me look at last year's.
We have the budget sometimes in May, or is that June?
The budget is in June.
June.
Let me look.
I feel like maybe they are short, because I feel like we usually are. in
We're pretty much
long
on
and we have
And
a-
we-
Autopilot
I just
here.
wanted to mention
Teacher,
What time does
no,
it
not
start
teacher
over?
evaluations
at
yet.
6,
6?
which I think it's like 6 to 8. But it seems like that, they were kind of rushed.
Well, 5, I'm
Probably
sure.
got outta here in a
Would
half
5
hour.
work? for you?
Yeah.
I'd say
5, I'm sure would
5
work.
o'clock.
So last year, we had a policy section, which we won't have this year. And the soft closure, hopefully won't have that. And changing graduation date, we hopefully won't have that. So hopefully we just have approved.
We
use of
didn't have a
football.
mascot hearings last
You
year.
almost probably better look back at another year.
Yeah. Football equipment for the summer.
Hopefully we
Yeah.
approve football equipment use for camp.
We've got our quarterly
We
update done.
had Pool opening date.
Sometimes we
approval,
don't we
but
have a
that was-
first look
we
at
did-
the
That was
budget?
because of.
Because of
so
COVID, we
scratched
normally
that.
wouldn't do that.
And we had temporary grading, we can scratch that. So we had the secondary course schedule and approve the teacher contracts, and that's it. Approve the
Sometimes,
teacher contracts contingent that the supplemental passes.
Right.
do you sometimes have a preliminary budget look in May? Or-
Sometimes I think we've done it as a
Yeah.
special meeting. just a
Mhm.
Oh,
budget
like a
session.
work meeting, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so it's 5 o'clock probably then, good, we'll be out by at least 6:15,
I think
at the latest.
at
you
the
know.
latest.
Okay.
Okay. All right, anything else? I
That's
should have
it.
asked.
Oh, no.
No? All right, well, if there's nothing else, then we can adjourn. Does someone like to make a motion?
I move to adjourn.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Okay.
Okay. Any opposed, anybody abstained? Thank you very much for your time tonight, everyone, and
Mhm.
have a good month.
That was fast.